Hello beautiful people, today I am going to be doing a review of the highest stake tournament you will see on PokerStars. It is the $25,000 WCOOP HighRoller. This tournament, as expected, is stacked to the top. We have Makita, we have Lena, we have AceSpades, we have Linus Love, we have Saloon, we have Ilya, we have Jesper. It is a seriously tough field, as to be expected. It is almost $500,000 for first place. I am going to try my best to analyze what is going on and tell you what I would do, but admittedly, these guys are a level above me. All right, so we have Fish 2013, an OG on PokerStars, playing the pot against Davy Jones. You see him flat with pocket sixes here due to the fact that he just can't 3-bet call super wide. Wow, wow, wow. I mean, this immediately is just gangster and Fish is gonna have to fold. Straight away. I have no idea if it's a thing, but I'm gonna trust him and say it is. Wow, look at this. Second hand of the final table of the 25K. And Linus picks up the Rockets, with Fish 2013 having queens. I mean, blind versus blind. Linus is going to raise here. I think stacks are close enough that he will want to. If I'm Fish, I'm 3-betting. And then the question is, does Linus click a back or trap? Because if he decides to fast play this, I don't really see a world. I mean, I'm just looking at the stacks. Like Jesper's 23 big blinds, and Atrium has 11, 26 for Sloan. I just think blind versus blind, I would always 3-bet this. And Fish is immediately into the tank. This is a sick, sick spot. I remember once upon a time having Giraffe Ganger on doing a final table review, and he said never slow play aces. Always click them. Always put more chips in. Is Linus Love a sneaky player, or is he going to follow in the footsteps of one of the greatest poker streamers of all time, Giraffe Ganger? Man, this is a long L tank. What a first hand. I mean, I have no idea. I have no idea. It's awkward. I'll tell you that much. Linus Love is not 4-bet calling a worse hand than queens, is my guess. We do see a call, and it's a pretty terrible flop for Linus's chance of stacking Fish, just because if he's going to be 4-bet bluffing here, one would imagine that the vast majority of the time he will use an ace. Guess we see small bet call. What a huge pot. 30 big blinds, by the way, immediately in the middle. Fish with the backdoor flush draw, not folding. Also just getting a very large price in position. If you're Linus, do we ever check? I mean, I don't know is the truth. I would probably bet small. But what would you want to do if you had like ace king, ace queen? Do you have ace king, ace queen? Maybe ace king suited, not ace queen. I don't think ace queen's clicking it back. It's not the river card in which Linus is going to get paid. Don't think Fish has too many hands that want to 3-bet and then call here in a 4-bet pot. You know, there's not too many suited 10s that are going to be playing that way. No offsuit 10s are going to flat the 4-bet. Is Fish just gonna get away with queens, keep 30 big blinds, avoid the massive cooler blind versus blind? What a brutal spot. Linus Love obviously not gonna have a huge amount of bluffs here. And with the 2 aces in his hand blocking most of what can call, we do see a disciplined fold from Fish. 6-6 spot to start the final table. Blind versus blind, Saloon with a hand that probably wants to put chips in, but Natrium with 6 big blinds, Jesper with 18 big blinds, even Fish pretty short as well. This is not the most fun spot. Like, if I'm Linus, I always check this hand, but maybe he doesn't want to do that. Maybe he wants to put the pressure on. Maybe he wants to let him know he's table captain. Do we want to bet on an ace-high board? I mean, Saloon probably has more aces here. He's going to play some open shoves and limps, but I don't think plays any raises off this stack. Therefore, we'll have some stuff, you know, like ace-queen and whatnot. This is a really kind of tricky spot immediately. Like, I'm not folding queen 7. Linus might double barrel just because Saloon not too like to have too many jack highs. Obviously, we'll have some, like exactly with hearts and also with diamonds, but gonna kind of be most likely weighted a little bit more towards king highs and queen highs, but not incredibly so. But we do see Linus betting the turn and winning the pot. No messing about. LeQenden, I've never really known how to say his name, raises, and Davy Jones has queens. Man, this is an insane spot, by the way, like an actually insane spot. I don't know. There's a 13 big blind, 17 big blind stack. You're out of position. I might go queens, ace king suited here. Like, if you double up, you do become the chip leader, but like that might be too wide. Davy decides to call. Davy actually gets to call the small blind a little bit wider than you would imagine here, I believe. Like, you know, once you're flat in queens, you kind of get to call a little bit more. Not that you want to be calling too much out of small blind versus a relatively EP open versus chip leader, but you know, LeQuenden going to be opening widest. Be pretty brutal to see a double barrel here. I'm not sure if I would go for it with ace 10. Like, Davy Jones is pretty strong range at this point. Is he considering maybe leading? Obviously, once he flat small blind calls flop, like the equity, the EV shifts very much towards him, most likely gonna have the best hand. Interesting. How gangster would it be to see a raise here? Like just call when you've got like Jack 10, call when you've got like 10x with a club, but like King 10 and Ace 10, maybe just fucking rip it up there. Wow, he just makes the fold. Nice fold, nice fold. Nature might be in a spot of bother. 11.3 big blinds. Oh, Ace 10, 9-10 suited is just kind of towards the bottom. He does shove, and Yepser in the small blind obviously gets a dream. All in with the rockets, the ones, and a chance to almost double up. Huge pot. Safe flop. And pretty safe turn. The aces do win and we lose our first player. Natrium out in 9th place. Alright, the lack of a short stack now means that Ace of Spades probably can just about raise Queen 10 off. I might fold Queen 9 off. Like, you are raising two people that cover you, raising into second and chips in the big, but it's probably going to be fine. Still need to be careful on a board like this. We don't have as much coverage as we generally would. Probably folding offsuit 9s. Some suited 7s even going in the bin. So got to be somewhat careful, I believe. Folds to the player that many say is the greatest online poker player of all time. Lane 900. Let's see how he decides to play these jacks. I think David Jones gets to call 5s. It's got to be pretty close, but, you know, he's not going to be 3-bet on super wide here, so he does have a more protected range, blah, blah, blah. And he has flopped a set. If you were going to flop a set, I would also call with pocket 5s. Lena is interesting. It's the kind of board where if you're going to bet, you would imagine it might go for a bigger size. It goes small. If I'm Davey, I call here all day long. I'm not raising. I know that we saw him raise in position, but it was a slightly different board where there was a flush draw. I would not raise. Hey, he's on the final table with 25k and I'm not. That is a absolutely terrifying tank and then raise. Lena might not be having it though. He might think that Davy Jones is trying to raise like King 10, Ace 10 suited to kind of slow down the action, but Jack's immediately feeling gross. Can we see Lena 900 get away? Problem with folding versus this size is like, is there a possibility that your opponent still has a worse hand? Could they have Ace 10? I wouldn't. And I think Davy Jones most likely will be going for the full lot here. I don't think Lane will call. I wonder how often you're meant to raise this flop, like to a small size. Like in my head, the way you would raise this flop would be around 5s and 4s, so you wouldn't raise small. But maybe that's wrong. Maybe that logic's wrong. If only those hands are gonna raise, maybe you do get to raise small because they're gonna be drawn dead. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just wouldn't raise in position with 5s on 10-5-4. Oh my god, Lena calls with jacks. Even the greatest sometimes get it wrong. I kind of tuned out because I just did not expect a call. Lena is out of there in 8th place. Oh my days. Blind versus blind. I think we should see Saloon limp ace king off. Davy Jones might shove. Wow, he raises. He is the shortest stack, so he does get to start playing some raises now, but the way I generally think about it is like I would raise ace king suited here. I would raise my best pairs. Wow, does get shoved on and is going to call, obviously. 42 big blind pot, huge. A 9 to break Saloon's heart. He makes the nuts. All right, we got ourselves some hands. We have, wow, this is actually pretty crazy. When AceSpades opens, Yepser might decide to 3-bet here. And if he 3-bets, Fish has an easy fold. If Yepser makes a really tight fold, wow, he's going to get away with it. The 10s are going to be saved because of the hands in front. I think Davy Jones. So, how does Yepser construct a 3-betting range here? Like, it's not super polar to the point where it has like an ace 5 off in his range, so I don't think Davey can go too small. Like, I don't think you can just make it 9 big blinds here. My guess is you'd probably need to make it like 11.5 or something, or just shove. And I kind of like shove, but I could be wrong. Like, I would click kings and aces and shove queens. Is that right? I don't know. I pick up the action once more, and Saloon opening what I guess would be the worst ace to open, and yeps for Jack 10's got to be kind of close with Fish's 12 big blind stack. Like, I would call, but I would not be. I just wouldn't be shocked if you're supposed to fold. Like, Saloon's opening into Davy Jones on the button. He's not going to be super wide. And on the flop, I think we don't fold and we have the spade fold without. Not loving life, obviously. If I'm Saloon, I bet the turn. It's kind of hard for Yester to have a better hand. If they've king 7 suited, we're getting stacked. They probably raise the flop. Feels pretty solid. All right, Fish 2013 with 2 9s. Don't think there's any other option just shoving here. Not good enough to induce. Don't really want to be raise folding. You are the shortest stack by a considerable amount. The question is, Does Saloon call? I think I would call. It's so close, but I do think you call. We see the flip, a king high flop, fish in trouble, and he is out of there, and we are down to the final 6 in the 25k WCOOP event, where next hand LeQuden, I don't know, I'm just gonna call him Le, gets the aces. Davy Jones, I would fold this like all day long. I wouldn't be considering calling here personally. Like, your risk premium so big against Le. Wow, he does call. I know it's a min raise and Le has to be a little bit reserved post flop, but I don't know, it feels too wide to me. Quinn of flatting pocket trees again. This is just a thing where when you're gonna wow, that was a one outer, by the way. David Jones I think had 10 tree off. Linus gonna start with a check, one would imagine, and LeQuinn just need a bet big, put a lot of pressure on. The thing when you flat with the big stack is you can just put so much pressure on post flop against people just with small bets. Linus obviously has a very easy call with this hand unless he can absolutely read minds. So on the turn, I think the worst hand LeQuinn is going to bet is a good king, but do you make it too easy for your opponent when you have a set if you go too big? I think Linus will just fold. Like maybe it's because I can see the cards. I'm a little bit biased. Like of course LeQuinn can just have like 8-9 of clubs here, but we do see a disciplined fold. Linus Love with 2 8s. I feel like I would raise 8s here. It's about the worst, like possibly 7s as well, but like you gotta look like the shortest stack is under the gun and the other short stack is in the big blind. Like you don't want to be going too wide here, unless again you're gonna flop a set. I feel like there's been an unreasonable amount of set flopping on this final table for the number of pairs we've seen. It's kind of interesting. I think I would bet here. Like it's a good check against this hand, but I think bottom set we mostly just want to bet. Don't think we want to slow play too much on a final table, but not 100% sure. And Linus is so much, it's hard to put into words how much better at poker Linus Love is than me. Like it's so difficult. I mean, now probably gonna block, get called like 1.5 to 2 big blinds. I feel like anything bigger is just a little bit too thin. Wow, Linus knows. So Linus can be bluffing here with stuff. Maybe I'm actually wrong now that when I think it out. Like you want to make a jack indifferent, right? You want to make some sort of king X indifferent. My fear was like they can probably have too much 10x and like the nut ratio is too high, but like I actually don't think that's the case. Like a lot of the 10x would have bet at some point, so that makes some sense. Like it's just you're making it maybe a little bit too easy. All right, we do see the chip leader raising once more, and Linus Love with pocket 4s. I would be very tempted to shove here, just not really interfering with a lot of the raise folds. LeQuinn's been incredibly active. Of course he will not be getting folds, but I think I would be all in. Oh my god, Linus is a better man than me. He folds. I mean, I probably would have, he just timed out. I probably would have fucking called him instead of folding. 4 is a pretty resilient post flop, man. All right, once more, I guess we're going to see a clash of the big stacks. I wonder like what Davy Jones can 3-bet here. Is it just aces? Like it might be. It's so many chips. And if you 3-bet, you just go huge. Maybe it's like aces, kings, and ace king suited, but like, imagine busting now, like with the stack set up the way they are. I also don't like this bet at all. Like I don't like this bet at all. It scares the living daylights out of me. I would check range unless I was going to turn the nuts. There's been a lot of these guys seeming to know what's going on, somehow betting when they've got the nizzles. I also think they probably need to check this turn. Like, yes, you've got the nuts straight, but like, I don't know, man. Like, I think maybe going for check call, check raise might be the play as well, because like you're only getting chips off them here if they have a 10. I don't think you can really check because you bet the turn. Of course, you can have some sets that kind of merge bet the turn, but like, I don't know. I might go small here and hope that they raise. I have no idea. Imagine they rep it with the jack 9. Just 40 bigs. Bang! What size makes a 10 indifferent? 40, 45 big blinds. Gotta make it fucking 10 shit itself, right? Discipline. All right, David Jones raising queen jack. I think he's got to be careful about going too large across too many streets here. Like your one pairs aren't the same as in chips here, you know? He does bet on the bigger side and get a kind of nice turn to barrel trees. Inconsequential in terms of LeQuinn really turning too many 2 pairs, and he's got the club in his hand, so it wouldn't shock me to see him bet again here, but like it's a big fucking bet, man. And LeQuinn has the nut flush draw. He's not going anywhere. It's a pretty crazy pot. There's gonna be more big blinds. Oh my god, David Jones has to bluff. Like surely he's got a bluff. He's got queen high with the jack of clubs in his hand. what size? I mean, I have no idea what size he's meant to bet. Like if he's repping a flush, like oh my god, he checks. I just don't think he can check there. Now, of course, he would have bet into the nuts, but god damn, if I had that hand, I think he made his bet betting so big in the first place, but maybe that's, I need to find out. These guys are sick fucks. We see the pretty tight fold from Saloon. I think Linus is meant to play no raises here with aces, 8 big blind stack, but king queen suited is a hand that just lends itself very well to raising. Maybe I need to, these are spots I just need to look at and get better at, but I would probably play limp or shove here, which might be a mistake, you know, like with hands like ace king suited, aces, etc. He does raise and get a pretty good flop in the sense that he has top pair and a good shot, but also that his opponent has top pair. The queen would not be up for facing a triple barrel here. Of course, Linus is going to be a player capable in every line of finding bluffs, but his raising range pre-flop, like I can't help but feel that's incredibly weighted towards value. Like it's so hard. Wow. This is a crazy hand. Linus kind of just trying to nudge his equity, realizing that he probably doesn't have enough bluffs here to support going 3 with this hand like huge. Wow, these guys are sick fucks. What a hand of poker. I would have liked to see a brick. It's kind of hard for Linus to have a queen except for king queen. It's to be a 6 spot. Oh my god, he's a sick puppy. Oh my god, imagine LeQuinn bluffed a top pair. I mean, he doesn't have a worse hand. Like he doesn't, you know, you can't have a worse hand because like he raises in position and calls a 3-bet. Like he doesn't have like ace 10. Wow, what a sick hand. Linus just knew exactly where he was at. Gets max value. That is unbelievable. All right, chip leader raises ace of spades as no real want to shove here. You would imagine can defend though, and on off flop I would just open shove my 10-9. Goes for check, maybe hoping to get a bluff. Gets a shove from the kings, turns a flush draw and a straight draw, but is not enough when we're down to 4 players. Every player now guaranteed $168,000. Ace 5 feels like a little bit not enough hand. Like shove ace 5 suited. If you're going to do anything with ace 5, I would 3-bet fold it. I don't think I want to shove it. King 9 off feels pretty whatever. Again in the big blind here, just like with the way the stacks are. Maybe Saloon's just not short enough now. You're playing 4-handed. Chip leader's going to be open enough. Like king 9 is a defend, but these hands just like post flop, like it's pretty difficult to realize against the chip leader. And like once the pots get big, it's generally problematic for you. Of course, you get the odd miracle, flop straight, trips, whatever, but like not for the most part. Davy Jones in a tough spot. I mean, super tough spot. I wouldn't fold. I would hate life, probably call, fold river, but like fuck. Oh my god, that is just a really, really tough river card. I think LeQuinn, it's kind of difficult, right? Do you want to target a queen? You definitely don't want to. When you have it all, like what size do you want to go? Wow, he goes for it all. Do you know what? When he goes for it all, Davy Jones is a pretty good hand, but he just tries to target the queen, target the jack 10, and gets the pretty quick fold in the end. All right, Davy obviously going to be raising king 9 suited. I'd be shocked. And LeQuinn can defend his hands and will defend his hand. Oh, LeQuinn has decided, you know what? I'm going to showboat a little bit. I have 100 big blinds. I've got 7 deuce. The 7 deuce game's not on, but I'm going to play it just for my own entertainment. And like, Davy's just going to fold. Davy Jones with another close one. I think I would just fold this. Like, I would just, I mean, it might actually work out perfectly. Saloon, it's a tough spot for Saloon. He does pull the trigger. The reason it's tough is because Davy's just been taking every spot. But like, I would probably have let LeQuinn battle with Saloon. Ooh, the ace-6 makes the ace-8 fold. That's pretty delightful for Saloon. I don't think we can pull the trigger here with jack 10 off. Like, we want to shove here super wide. Oh, wow. Wow. That seems too wide. I know he's opening super wide and we've got a lot of fold equity, but it just seems too wide. Especially when you're going to lose the flip. It feels a bit sloppy to me. I'm not sure. Very next hand, we see Davy with the queen 9 off. Like, I don't... Like, this just does not feel like an open to me. Like you're just gonna get fucked so hard, and you have LeQuinn has put you in the bin consistently. Oof. Wow. I mean, Linus. Oh wow, huge pot. I mean, Linus 3-bet calls top his range. Obviously, 8 versus ace jack, hearts covered. And we are heads up. See you later, Linus Love. $324,000 guaranteed. It is 450k plus the prestigious 25k title up for grabs. LeQuen with a monster chip lead, 4-1. And given the way this has played out so far, he's got to be feeling pretty confident. Goes a little small raise here with 8-4. Not really something I would tend to do, but I am not a heads up player. And goes big. I mean, Davy Jones isn't folding, right? Obviously, both players with the same good shot, but LeQuen with the aggression. It feels kind of difficult for him to bet that turn, but like his hand is also garbage and he's also an absolute gangster apparently. Davey, it's a tough spot on a turn, but it does call. I mean, if you get this far and you've got 8 high, I don't see a world in which we get to check. This would be such a sad give up. Considering how he's played the whole final table, I just don't see him checking here. Oh. Tragic. I'm 3-betting ace-jack suited here all day long. It's been 3-betting really small, so it'll be interesting heads up, see what size he goes. Can't imagine we see much folding. Pretty solid flop for the ace-jack. LeQuen obviously not folding. Good shot. Backdoor flush draw, overcard. He's going to raise. That might actually cost him. Davy Jones might just say enough is enough. I would be all in here. I won't be messing around. If you've got an 8, congratulations. I ain't here to fuck about. The problem I find... I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong. I don't think LeQuen's going to check or raise here with like little equity, but maybe. He's going to call, right? Surely he doesn't fold here. I know nothing. All right, Davy Jones with the pocket jacks. They're really, really deep now. I don't know anything about heads up, but as we get deeper, I know less. LeQuen calls. I'd be pretty tempted to 4-bet or fold this one, but again, nada, nothing, don't know, ain't my specialty. If I called pre-flop though, I'd be pretty tempted to call that flop with 3 through straight. Personally, I mean, maybe need a backdoor flush draw, but calling pre-flop and then fold an ace high on that board just doesn't feel right to me. Like it feels in there, it's wrong. All right, Davy Jones with a very standard raise. Wow, that was the quickest call I've ever seen and the quickest check. That would feel a little bit tilted to me, just given what we've seen so far. But LeQuen calls the ace-9, calls on the flop, and Davy, I think with king jack, I would probably bet turn, maybe check ace-jack, but he does go for a check. And LeQuen could block, could check. I don't think Davy can just call against that. That feels criminal. Like, I'm charging this. But Davy's playing not how I would play so far. He does go for a raise, and that's just such an annoying size to face. I hate life. He does make a disciplined fold, and the chip stacks get very, very even. I'm not sure if Davy has been the chip lead so far. He started with a 4-1 deficit, and all of a sudden it is 90 big blinds versus 90 big blinds. And he's got a straight, so he's about to have the chip lead unless we see a bet, a call, a red card or something, but unlikely to see too many folds here. It's kind of interesting on this turn, like what size do you want to bet? Now I would, because like if you go smaller you can bet wider, and then you can go much more polar on the river. Just go for 1.5x the pot, and he becomes chip leader for the first time. Almost 100 big blinds versus 85, and now he's 2.5x in. Fair enough. So is LeQuen. Hey, maybe that's something you're supposed to do in heads up when you get deeper. I would mix this one between call-in and 3-betting. We do see a re-rose from Davy, and he flops top pair. Pretty good flop. Like, I'm betting this flop very large. LeQuen unlikely to ever flat 10s plus. Actually, maybe the 100 big blinds you do, but like I would be pretty confident betting big here. LeQuen calls, and we see a 7 on the turn. I would be tempted to bet here with 10-9 suited, Jack-9, and then check like Queen-9, King-9, even Ace-9. But like just that backup in case you've been outdrawn. But he does decide to check this one. Don't think there's any point in LeQuen betting. He decides to bet a quarter pot. Not really sure if this is like a kind of blocker bet, trying to get called by like Ace-10, Ace-Jack, maybe even like Ace-Queen, maybe something like 10-7. I'm not so sure. But we do see a river jack, and LeQuen kind of put himself in a weird spot by betting that turn. Do they just want to show down and try and beat like Ace-Queen? Like the jack's kind of awkward. I mean, it's kind of hard for him to have a worse hand now, but I don't really like the idea of betting here. I mean, if he bets, Davy Jones might fold if he bets all in, and he does bet all in. Holy shit, this is such an insane spot. Like, he might make Davy Jones fold 2 pair. If Davy Jones calls, he wins the 25k, he wins the WCOOP HighRoller and $450,000 after being down 4-1 heads up. He does make the call, man. What a mess. What a mess from LeQuen. Oh my god. Obviously, Ilya, infinitely better than me and always will be, but man, that feels like he just lost his patience, got a little bit tilted and gave it away. Congratulations to Davy Jones. That is another high stakes final table review. It was the $25,000 from WCOOP. If you would like to see more, and I think people enjoy these, please do let me know. Let me know what tournament you would like to see. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.